welcome back to Planets and Problems, the astrology podcast by two girls that are not astrologists.
Hi guys, I'm Atalia.
And I'm Ayesha.
And I'm a Sagittarius.
And I'm a Virgo. I hope everyone is doing well. This week is a Halloween episode. Woo! Happy Halloween. Thank you. I've been practicing to scare off the ghosts.
Okay. Well, can I start talking about something that I tried to scare off?
Can I just tell everyone about the history of Halloween first?
Yeah, go.
Okay. So, for anyone that is interested in the history of Halloween, Halloween originally started as a new year because basically they celebrated the new year on the 1st of November. So, the 31st of October was like Christmas, like New Year's Eve. That's what it was. Yeah. And also, back in the day, the reason why one of the reasons we associate with dead people is that winters were quite difficult to survive, and that's like the beginning of winter, November.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a celebration of the dead. Also, people believed that the lines between the living and the dead were evaporated, so the veil was removed. So obviously you've got the idea of the other side and, you know, where the ghosts and the dead people are and the spirits. Those lines were evaporated so people could wander freely, spirits could wander freely. And that is why people dress up as symbolic characters to actually scare off the ghosts.
Oh, not anymore though.
Well, no, everyone still dresses up as symbolic characters
everyone dresses up as sluts.
Yeah, but I guess if you're still a devil, you're still going to scare off the ghosts.
Yeah, true. But then it just kind of turned into fancy dress as well. But I guess that's still symbolic characters.
No, that's kind of what the point is. The fancy dress is to scare off the ghosts.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And that is the end of my brief history of Halloween. So, happy Halloween, everybody. How are you?
Yesterday morning, someone tried to mug me.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god. What? I can't believe you've not told me this.
Yeah, because I wanted to tell you on the pod.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, let me tell the story, okay?
Right.
So, I was on my way to work, I was on my way to the train station, and it was maybe 8:30 in the morning. Not exactly prime mugging time, but you know.
No.
And it was a Saturday. So, this guy comes up to me, I've got my headphones in, and he's like, he says something to me, I don't hear him, so I take my headphones out, and I'm like, sorry, what? And he's like, can you buy me a drink? And I was like, no, sorry, went to go and walk, and he wouldn't let me past him. He was like, trying to like get in my way. And I was like, I'm not getting you a drink, and he was like, give me your drink. I had a little, like, little green tea in my mug that morning. He was like, give me your drink. I was like, no, and he was like trying to like get close to me, and I was like, I thought he was gonna go for my bag, so I said, you can fuck off, and I had to run onto the road because he wouldn't let me pass, and I was like, god, I had to run away from him. This was like, like Sheffield, like 2 minutes from where I live.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, good for you for telling him to fuck off.
Yeah. I was like, this ain't happening to me today.
Yeah. You channeled your inner fuck off.
Oh my god, fuck off. Are you going to tell the story of the fuck offs?
Yeah, basically, when we went on holiday with our friends to Magaluf, we all had nicknames, and mine was Miss Fuck Off, because basically when guys would come up to us that we didn't want to come up to us, especially if we were sat in a restaurant and they would just not go away, even when we weren't like continuing talking to them, they just wouldn't go away, I would just look them in the eyes and tell them to fuck off. So
yeah, but it was also the way that it came out.
It was fuck off.
It was fuck off.
Like fuck off.
Like, there's no language barrier here because it's clear as day. I'm telling you to fuck off.
Yeah, I think we might have used all our fuck offs for YouTube, to be honest. Like, I think we'll be alright on the podcast platforms, but I don't think we've got any more fuck offs in us for YouTube, so that might be the last one that we can do this episode. Mm-hmm. But you're alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just ran.
That is not a very nice, like, situation. I guess it's less scary that it was, like, daytime and it was light.
Yeah, true.
Because if it was dark...
There were people around as well. I did cause a bit of a scene. And I think because I caused a bit of a scene, I, like, ran and shit and I told him to fuck off. He just walked off. It
just annoys me that they think that they can do that in the day.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. This guy, he was like... I'll give you a description. He was like 40 odd. He didn't really look that suspicious other than he was holding these weird things in his hand that looked like, they were like rectangular and it looked like oil.
Yeah.
It was weird. Yeah, he was holding those in his hands and he didn't particularly look homeless or anything.
Right.
Weird.
So you might not have been. Muggers are muggers.
Not. Yeah. So.
Gosh.
He's like, baby, give me your drink. He didn't say it like that.
Honestly.
But yeah, that's all I've got to tell you really. That's like the biggest event that's happened in my life since I last saw you.
Not very nice, and I'm glad that you're still alive. And if it was worse than that, I'm hoping that you would have called me and told me, but it's fine that you saved it for the pod.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'll...
You said that you had news.
Yeah, that is news.
That's news. That is
not all news is good. Have you never turned on BBC News?
No, to be honest. Never, unless someone's like forced me to watch it. Okay.
Yeah, guys, stay safe out there, and also to any muggers thinking of mugging me in the future. Fuck off,
mate. Literally fuck off. Because if you do, I'll find you. And I will hurt you.
Basically, I'm not messing about. Like, that shit ain't happening to me. Not today.
Hurt? We're witches.
Cast a spell. Do you know what? I wish I'd poured it was a hot drink, and I wasn't drinking it at the time because it was too hot to drink. I should have just poured it over him. But it was one of those screw lids, and I thought...
By the time you screwed it off?
Yeah, and also sometimes it does get a bit stuck. So, like, imagine me trying to unscrew it. Like, I didn't have time for that. I just had to run.
Also, if that ever happens to you again, or after you've said fuck off, as you're running away, just turn around and say, you need to be careful, mate, because I am a witch. And so's the rest of my family. Because that shit seems to scare people.
It does.
Like, it scares people. Which actually moves on to a quick story that I don't know if everybody has heard, but it was going around on TikTok about Nicki Minaj was apparently doing, like, witchcraft on Cardi B. And Cardi B, I think, had mentioned it in an interview about Nicki Minaj doing witchcraft on her. And... Nicki Minaj had heard about it and also did an interview, was like, don't know what she's talking about, like she's not okay. And Azalea Banks, which is another rapper, then came out on like her Instagram story and was like, the biggest form of witchcraft is telling someone that you're doing witchcraft on them, or someone's doing witchcraft on them, and then believing it actually is the biggest form of witchcraft, because that's when your life turns to shit, when you believe it's being done on you. And Azalea Banks basically admitted that she lied to Cardi B and told her that oh no, the story is the other way around.
Oh, so it's
Cardi B was doing witchcraft on Nicki Minaj. So it was actually Nicki Minaj that believed that witchcraft was being done on her by Cardi B.
So Azalea Banks had said, Cardi B is doing witchcraft on you.
Yeah.
But it was actually Azalea doing the... Azalea?
Yeah. Azalea Banks wasn't actually doing any witchcraft. She just lied.
She just lied. So technically she was.
Yeah, because I guess that is...
So it was her all along, but so she was trying to make Nicki believed that it was happening to her.
Yeah.
So that it was like, she was just paranoid and stuff.
Which is just like hilarious, but also nuts. But yeah, you should tell people that. And anyone that ever calls you a witch as an insult, they are actually just scared of you, basically.
Which is what we're starting to get now.
Yeah, and we actually want to use that to our advantage, because we're going to need that, guys. I don't know what for. I don't know what's happening, but
it's coming, alright?
Something. We're going to need it for something. So welcome to the Halloween episode, Witchcraft. So we've got a couple of ghost stories.
You don't want to do your affirmation?
Oh, yes!
Can you see how we've literally not, like, talked about the structure of this, really?
No, I gave you...
We've just gone into this Halloween episode, like, let's go.
Let's
see
go,
what happens.
though. See what
and if
happens.
some spooky shit happens.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I'm saying that like we're not filming in the same... Well, we're in a different place, but we're in the exact same room as what we always film in. It's not like we're in a haunted house or a different studio.
That would be so cool, though, if we could do that.
No, it fucking wouldn't.
Yeah, but like...
Absolutely not.
Just for content, if something did happen.
Well, you go, and we'll do like one of those Skype podcasts.
Zoom ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. Skype real anymore.
And I'll be here, and you can be... Skype real?
I don't think so. I think it's
Is it
over.
not?
I think we've moved on to Teams.
Microsoft
I don't
has
think
taken
Skype...
over.
I think... Yeah, I don't think Skype exists anymore. I think Skype was Microsoft as well, but I think they just don't use it anymore. They swapped it onto Teams. That is uninteresting
That
information.
is not what we're here to
everybody.
talk about.
So, this week's affirmation is, though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be afraid of the night.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So if anyone is scared of Halloween or scared around Halloween, that is the affirmation for you.
Sure, I don't understand it, but it sounded really pretty. So what does it mean?
It's basically just that, like, obviously the idea that your soul, like, goes to sleep at night, like, you'll wake up and it'll be light in the morning. So though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. So it will rise in the morning.
I thought that was like a metaphor for like bad times and good times.
Potentially, yeah, you could use it as that as well. Obviously things have like other meanings. And then obviously I have loved the stars too fondly to be afraid of the night. So it is just like I worship the stars and I worship the night and I appreciate and respect it. So I'm not scared of it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, don't be scared.
Don't be scared. No, you might be scared because we're about to tell you some actual ghost stories. Do you have any ghost stories?
Right, so I wanted to talk to you about this because a few years ago, Dad mentioned that, so a bit of background, Dad lives in like the middle of the fucking woods.
We should be doing it near Dad's, the Halloween episode.
Yeah, we should have basically just done it at Dad's house. So Dad, he lives in the middle of the woods and it's like, his house is old as fuck. There's some creepy shit going off over there.
I think it's 1816, I think it was built, or something like that.
Hell yeah. A few people have come and gone in that time. So, he had somebody come over and said that, like, there was a little boy in his house or some shit, but then he turned to me and was like, oh, that's a fake story. So, I need to know from you now, is that story true or false?
That story is true.
Right, okay, great. So now let me tell this. Do you remember the story? You probably remember it better than me.
Just go for it, because I might have more to add.
This woman came over to Dad's house. I don't know why, but she came over and she had like some sort of intuition and said that there was a little boy, ghost boy, in Dad's house that was like slamming cupboards and stuff and doing some freaky shit. But when I was over there, I go to my dad's every Friday night, he wouldn't do any of the slamming the cupboards or any weird stuff because he knew that I was afraid.
Aww.
And he knew that, like, if he started, like, pissing about while I was there, he knew, like, the little boy, like, didn't want me to be scared.
I know that part of the story. I don't think I knew that bit, because I've got more to add to that, but I don't think I actually knew that.
Which is just, like, so respectful, because I would have shat myself.
Apparently child ghosts are mischievous, they're not like evil or anything like that, so that will be why. Our little brother used to like look up at the ceilings, so my dad's got quite high ceilings, and he'd look up and be able to see something and be like, what's that up there? What's that little boy up there? Do you remember?
No.
Well, I can't believe you don't remember, because you used to get so mad. You'd be like, shut up, stop it. And you'd be like telling him off, because obviously you were quite little as well. And yeah, you would get so mad at him for doing that. But last year, so obviously this story is quite an old story, isn't it? Like the little boy situation. Someone going over to Dad's house telling him about that. That happened years and years ago. But last year, my dad called me, our dad, and he said that weird stuff has been happening again. So he was saying that his headphones would end up in my little brother's room, like under the bed, when he's not put them there. And like things kept moving. And then there was one night where he heard a bang downstairs. And obviously people have fridge magnets on their fridge. And the way that our dad's house is set up is that the fridge is right next to like the living room, dining room area. And he went downstairs and looked, and one of his like heavy fridge magnets was off the fridge, not falling onto the floor, it was in the living room.
Where in the living room?
Like near, I think it was like near the dining table in the living room.
Yeah, that's travelled some, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not just fell off like onto the floor, it's fell into a different room, like probably at least like a metre or so.
I don't think it fell at all. Something's moving it.
But with our dad's house, there's so many weird things, because I also have these dreams every so often where I'm in my dad's house, and it's a cottage, so it's got 2 bedrooms, and so upstairs you've got the bathroom and 2 bedrooms, so you've got 3 doors upstairs. But I'll have dreams where I'll go upstairs and there'll be more doors. And I'll go in the doors and there'll be people that I don't know in the rooms, and they'll just be sat there doing stuff. All the rooms will be decorated differently, quite old style, but they might be bathrooms, like, you know, those like old large bathrooms, and there'll be people in the rooms, and then you'll go into the rooms and there'll be another door in the room to another room, and basically there's all these doors that you can just go through to different
Well, the thing
places.
is, Dad's house so it's connected to 2 other houses.
Yeah.
But I think back in the day, was that all one big house?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably what that is.
Yeah, so very weird about Dad's house. But I also have a ghost story that involves my dad. It is a quick one. So
You've got ghost stories for days.
I do have quite a few. I've had to like pick, so I might have to save some for like next year's
Halloween.
next Halloween.
God knows what would happen by then.
God knows. But this one was when I was quite young. We're on our way back from the pub. So there was everyone else, I think, had got in a taxi, and me, my dad, and his friend had decided to walk. And it was quite dark, and where we live, there's quite a lot of back lanes. So we were walking down the back lanes, and we saw this woman. So we're all just obviously chatting, like I'm obviously a kid, so I'm just kind of like listening or whatever. And we saw this woman, old woman, holding a carrier bag, like walk through past us into the field and through a tree.
What the fuck? All 3 of you saw that?
I'd love to know if Dad remembers, because I've never actually asked him about it. I think I've asked him about it since, but not for like not since I've been an adult. We all saw that, and we ran.
Really?
Yeah.
So
we weren't that far from the house. Like, we were on that back lane that's just before the house. Do you know which bit I mean? But obviously it's pitch black. There's no lights until you get to where the houses are. So it was before that.
As if you're just freaked out. I feel like usually when people have these ghost stories, like when they've genuinely encountered a ghost, I feel like they're not scared at the time.
I think because we all saw it, because when I encounter ghosts, and like I said, I've got ghost stories for days. Well, you said that. When I encounter them, I'm not usually scared, but on this occasion, I think because we all saw it and all acknowledged it, it made us scared.
We hyped each other up.
Yeah, we all just were like, what was that run? Because it was very weird. It's like, where was she going? Why were we involved? Like, why did she show herself to us? But yeah, so that was a quick ghost.
Do you know what? I think ghosts avoid me. Not like they're afraid of me or anything, but like, any respectful ghost knows not to pull that shit on me because I won't recover.
Yeah, but you're in the good position where you believe in ghosts, but it's the people that don't believe in ghosts that the ghosts want to fuck with.
Do you think?
So, yeah, I think...
Would you?
I wouldn't know. I'm saying you do believe in them, but you're scared, so I wouldn't.
No, but if you were a ghost, would you be thinking, this motherfucker don't believe in me, let's do some shit? I don't know how or what, how we pick the
100%, 100%. I have another story. So, I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but earlier this year I went to a psychic development class a few times because we both saw a psychic, and the psychic said to me, look, you have some abilities, come to my class. So I went, and then I think it was the third and last time that I went, I think I literally got scared off and I didn't go back after this happened. But basically our granddad died when we were quite young. I think I was 7, so you would have been even younger.
And step-granddad.
Yeah, but do we call him that? We just called him granddad, didn't we?
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't like by blood.
It's not our mum's dad, but yeah. Anyway, that's not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so our granddad died when we were younger and was quite religious, and I've always felt like he has been there, not all the time, but I have these moments throughout my life where I felt like he's in the room. And it will be at the most random time. I've never seen him, but I've just felt like he was in the room. Anyway, so I'm at this psychic development class, and I've seen a few psychics, and he's never ever come through, ever. And other people that I've known that have died have come through, and he's never come through. And then so I'm at this class, and this one occasion we're doing this speed dating where you speed reading each other. So you literally like speed dating, but you're actually just giving each other readings in 2 minutes and moving on. It got to me, and one person said to me, there's a male presence. And she said something like, it doesn't normally come through, quite hesitant to come through. And then later on, it got to the end of the class, and they said, does anyone have any readings for anyone? Does anyone have any spirits coming through for anyone? So I sat there, you know, not thinking anyone was coming through for me, thinking already, oh, my granddad came through earlier, that was weird. And then this person started talking about someone that died somewhere where it was really hot, something to do with their chest, started describing exactly how our granddad died.
Yeah.
And obviously as he'd already come through, and like how he died is quite specific. So basically
yeah, not a lot of people die this way.
Yeah, he was on holiday in Jamaica, and he had a heart attack in the sea. So yeah, very very specific way to die, and like for someone to describe. So then I piped up and was like, it took me ages to pipe up as well. I was silent because obviously it was for me, so no one else is going, yeah, that's right.
Why were you like hesitant to say something?
I was hesitant because I couldn't quite believe it, because he's never come through. So I couldn't quite believe that he was coming through. I couldn't quite believe that it would actually be him. Yeah, really religious.
So do you think that's why it took his time?
Yeah, apparently religious people don't necessarily come through because they don't really believe it. And it kind of, especially if they've died, like if they've been dead for a long time, it's a bit different. But the spirit that was here on the earth at that time, if it's been like, you know, within the last like probably 100 years, they've still got a connection to who they were in this lifetime. So it would be hard for you to be religious. So let's say you're really religious and then you die and you go, and there's a lot more to life and afterlife than what you knew. It's going to be quite hard for you to quite believe it.
Yeah.
So apparently that is why. So then I pipe up and say, I think that's for me. And they were like, that, you took your time. And I was like, I know. And then I explained what I've just explained to you, that, you know, it's not come through before. I'm quite shocked. And they said the message was, be careful who you speak to, like be careful who you tell things to, and who you like basically like engage with and tell like your innermost thoughts to. Just be careful and trust your gut. And at this point, I was starting to go through my breakup that I was going through. What I then went through. So the trust your gut was quite interesting because that was my gut.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it really got to me and upset me because I'd never had like a message like that before, and like I said, I've always felt like he's there.
Yeah.
So
I used to see him, didn't I?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You do have ghost stories.
I do have ghost. I forgot until you mentioned him, and I was like, shit, yeah. Right. So when he was around, was our nan in the house? Well, in the flat that she's in now.
Yes.
Really? Because I can still remember where in that house that I used to see him, like on the chair reading his Bible.
Really?
Yeah. Because I remember, so basically he passed away, and
Why
then...
does that make me want to cry?
I don't know. So, I don't really remember a lot about him, because I would have been like 4. I would have been really young.
Maybe younger.
Yeah, and he passed away, and I'd see him in the corner of the room still. And I still remember like what I saw at that time.
And you used to have an imaginary friend, didn't you?
I don't know.
I don't know if I'm
I
asked.
don't remember.
Are you happy with me?
You go ahead, I don't remember.
You used to have an imaginary friend called Derek, and our granddad's name was Eric. And it was, you didn't have this imaginary friend until granddad had died.
That's mental.
And all of a sudden, you started talking about Derek. And like, yeah, and we'd be like, who the fuck is Derek? He's like, imagine your kids in the house. And like, well, my sister, they're even worse because it's not just you can play it off, oh, kids be kids. I'm also a kid. And we're sat in a room and she's talking to Derek and talking about Derek. And I'm like, who's Derek? There's only me and Erin here. So I agree. I believe you that you used to see him because you definitely used to see Derek anyway.
I saw something. That's for sure.
It's funny that you can't remember who Derek is, but that you didn't have. Derek didn't exist until after he died.
No, I feel like big life events in my mind, big life events that happened to me, must like manifest somewhere in my head.
What do you mean?
So, when our little brother was born, I then got another imaginary friend when I was like 11.
What?
Yeah, I know. Like I used to like make, you know, like when, I know some people do this, so I know I'm not crazy, but I don't know if you do this. When you're trying to get to sleep at night, you start making up scenarios in your head.
Yeah.
So it was like that kind of thing.
So he was a friend in your head?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, because when you were younger, this person was in the room and you were playing with them.
No, it's not.
So
It didn't go as far as that, but like, it was like a made up character now in my head.
Right.
And what was... brother was born. It was definitely around that time.
What was he like? Was he your age?
Yeah.
Was he your friend?
Yeah.
Maybe it was Derek, mate. Like, maybe Derek wasn't actually anything to do with our granddad, and Derek is your imaginary friend or like your spirit guide or something.
There's more to it, but I don't remember now. Yeah.
Because there's like, that'll come back to you, I think, at some point. Like you'll...
Yeah, I don't think I deal with stuff like normal people. I think these imaginary friends come into my head when shit goes down in my life. Yeah.
Well, it's the idea, which I 100% believe in, is that you've got spirit guides.
Yeah.
And essentially like guardian angels, that you have a team of people or whatever they are, figures, that help you. Because obviously I've done these meditations and I've sat in a circle with mine and they all look, I don't know how to explain what they look like because they don't look like humans. But obviously they can take different forms. So that will be the meditation, seeing them there, we'll be seeing them in their true form. But that could be like a spirit guide or one of like your guardian angels basically coming to help you go through whatever it is that you're going through, the same as the imaginary friend. It could be a ghost, but there is also, because obviously in a lot of horror films, imaginary friend that the kid sees always actually ends up being the ghost that's haunting the whole family. But in your circumstance, it sounds like it could actually be well, I guess they are ghosts because they are spirits, but it's, you know, that's your guide, someone to help you get through whatever it is that you need to go through. That is so interesting. Oh my god, I've got so many stories. It's actually ridiculous. Not even just about me, but we'll definitely have to do this again next year or some other point, because I have more about my dad as well. And I bet the stories that my dad's not even told me, but I have more stories about my dad and situations like that. So
I feel like your dad's even more connected. Not connected, but like more shit goes down with him.
Yeah.
Do you think that's his Irish blood?
Potentially.
He's got like a stronger, yeah. Ours is a bit diluted now.
Ours is diluted. But women are psychic anyway, so. Shall we get on to the couple of stories that we've had written into us?
Oh my god, yeah. So guys, I asked you on TikTok if you've had any ghost stories, and we got a few people wrote in, and we're going to read out some of the ones that we got. So the first one, I don't think this person understood the assignment, because this sounds more like a near-death experience than a ghost story. I was expecting like your classic like horror story, like we moved into a new house, blah blah blah, but this is what this person's got to say anyway. We'll share it anyway. I just wanted to end it all and decided to let myself drown.
Right.
It worked too. I almost lost consciousness and my life was flying before my eyes.
Oh my god.
Something inside me didn't want it at the same time to the drowning, but they didn't want this to happen. Suddenly, like a reflex, it stopped. In fact, it was just like bathing in a bathtub and then trying to kill myself. That's how it went.
What?
Have you read this beforehand?
I did not properly. No.
This sounds like a suicide attempt, but I'm thinking something in them, like, had this, not today.
But then was it a suicide attempt? They weren't actually in the bath, were they? So it feels like they're in the bathtub.
Listen, I just wanted to end it all and decided to let myself drown.
Yeah.
So where were they?
That's what I mean. It sounds like you're saying near-death experience. They could have fell into the sea. They could have fell into a river or
it's like
a lake.
A riddle. I feel like you've not given us enough information here.
That is really weird. That does sound like a near-death experience. And then what was the last bit?
In fact, it was just like bathing in a bathtub and then trying to kill myself. That's how it went.
The end.
That's how it went. Yeah.
It was
something inside me didn't want it at the same time. Suddenly, like a reflex, it stopped.
I wonder, that might be a dream.
I'm well confused.
I wonder if
why
that
would
was
they
a
not
dream.
say that? Why is this? I'm starting to think that a ghost wrote in, because why is it this like mysterious?
This is
like we got to work this one out. Do you know what I mean?
This is a ghost telling us how they died, letting us know that the ghosts are real, because that is how they died. That is crazy. I don't even know, but thank you for writing in, ghosts. And also, if you do want to expand and give us some more information, email us at planetsandproblems@gmail.com, because we would love to know the rest and know whether it was a dream, whether you are a ghost. If you are a ghost, you can figure out a way to send us an email. Ghosts are good with technology.
Well, they managed to write it on TikTok.
Yeah, so you can send us an email. Thank you. Do you want me to read the next one?
I'm still not over it. Okay, moving on. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Oh, it starts with okay. Okay, so when I was 13, my dad had a heart attack and was sent to hospital. 4 days later, on New Year's Eve, 2020, he died. The following September, I was home alone and just talking to myself, and I had a candle lit, and I said as a joke, "Dad, if you're here, flicker the candle." And the candle flickered. I was in shock, and I said, "No way, do it again." And the candle flickered again. I know candles can be unpredictable, so I immediately texted my friends telling them what's going on. So we started a group FaceTime, and I was showing them, and I was asking my dad / the candle yes and no questions. Flickering the candle meant yes, and keeping the candle still meant no. At this point, I was literally sobbing, so I left my friends and continued to talk to my dad, asking him questions like, "Are you safe? Are you happy?" etc. He said yes to both of those questions, and eventually my mum and sister came home, so I said goodbye to my dad and never told any of my family about this. Another time, I had an experience with my dad when I was in a candle shop. and it was around Father's Day last year, and they were selling alcohol flasks with common male names on them, and they also had numbers on the display, so you knew where to find the flask with your dad's name on if you wanted. My dad's name was there next to the number 50. My dad died when he was 50. Maybe it was a coincidence. Finally, my dad was a musician, well known in the area I live in, and one of my family friends saw his stage name on the number plate of a car. Thanks for letting me share. First of all, thank you so much for telling us those stories.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about your dad. That's a really young age to pass.
Yeah, it is. But, wow, right. So I don't even know where to start unpacking because that is a lot of information. So,
let's start with the candle flickers.
Candle flickers. That is so interesting.
That's how I'm coming back.
That's how you're coming back,
yeah,
as the fire,
that's going to be my thing, guys. If I'm reaching out to you, light a candle and see if I come through.
Yeah. I love that though.
Yeah.
I really love it.
It'd be interesting to see if he was a fire sign.
Yeah, because obviously the fact that it kept going as well, and the fact that you FaceTimed your friends.
Yeah.
I understand why you didn't tell your family, because you don't know how people are going to react that have been grieving somebody.
Yeah.
Like, especially someone that's really close to them. So I understand why you didn't tell your family.
Yeah.
But being able to like ask yes and no questions, and I'm glad that he's safe.
Yeah.
And like,
that's all anyone really wants to like hear, really.
Yeah, definitely. Gosh, that is so interesting. So the next bit was about being in a candle shop. That's interesting because obviously the first bit was about a candle, and the second time you were in a candle shop, but actually what happened there was she saw some, I don't know if it's a shake, sorry, you saw some alcohol flasks, and so you saw alcohol flasks in the candle shop, and they had different names on, and then they had your dad's name next to the age that he died. That is interesting because obviously it's a candle shop as well. I love that because that's just like the connection, the candle the first time, the candle the second time.
Keeping it consistent.
Yeah. So yeah, that is. I don't believe in coincidences, so I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't think coincidences exist. And then finally, well-known musician and one of your family members saw your dad's stage name on the number plate of a car. So to me, that's saying that in the second and third situation, your dad was present at that time, and that's why that happened. Like, especially the number plate one as well. That's just like saying, I'm here, by the way.
Yeah, think about what happened that day or like that time in your life that your dad thought maybe you should come. Well, obviously it was like near Father's Day, the second one, wasn't it? The candle shop. So maybe it was just saying hello during that time. Do you think the candle flickers? Do you think that was completely legit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw this TikTok of someone. They're at this house and they had this really old swing in the garden, and it was like quite a still day, and they just looked out the window and the swing was like prattling about, no wind, like moving, but like not in like a way that the wind would move it.
Yeah.
Literally like someone was chucking this swing up and down.
God.
Yeah. And they went out and they started asking it questions.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was so like eerie and freaky, honestly. But they were just asking questions like, I think they knew something like about a little boy that had died or something. So they were saying like, are you a little boy? And the swing would be completely still, and then it started chucking itself up and down.
God.
Asking so many questions, and it was like, it was not coincidental, like it wasn't a windy day, and the way that the swing was moving it wasn't like the wind would move it, and it was keep being like still for like no questions, and yes, it was like moving.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that, because then they said like, we're going to go live on Instagram the next day and like ask more questions, and I went back, I don't know if they went live or what. That was quite a few months ago as well, so I'd love to know the update on that. But like, yeah, it's crazy how things could.
Yeah, I definitely think that, I definitely believe in stuff like that, especially because in a situation where it's someone that's close to you, I think the person that's written in, I think you would have sensed that your dad was there, which is why you said like, Dad, if you're here, flicker the candle.
Yeah.
I think you would have already had that intuition of your dad's presence, because the fact that that came to you to even do that,
Yeah.
to me, that next step was just you finding a way to actually communicate. You already knew that your dad was there at that point. Yeah.
Crazy. How would you show, say you die before me, how are you showing me that you're around?
I don't know, because there's a show on Netflix called Surviving Death, and one of the episodes is about mediums and spirits and stuff, and they say that before you die, you should like come up with a way that you're going to communicate with like your partner or like people that you're close to, and say like a specific thing. So I've always said that mine would be a red balloon, because I love like Halloween, death, stuff like that. And there's a really popular film called It, which is the one with the Halloween with the clown Pennywise, and Pennywise holds the red balloon, and I love those films. So yeah, in my head, you would see a red balloon. That would be probably my initial way with communicating with you. But in terms of like communicating, like so we can have like a conversation, I like to think that I would come in dreams, because I'm just a massive dreamer, aren't I?
Oh, I don't know about that. Don't be disturbing my sleep, please.
The trees.
Trees, okay.
Yeah.
But you don't really hear about trees. I've heard dreams before, like people coming back in dreams, but I've never heard someone be like, yeah, I walked past this tree, and it was, you know, my granddad.
But I will be reincarnated into a tree if I have it my way, so you will look at a tree one day and be like, oh my god, that's Aish.
That's her, she's
oh
there.
My god, that's Aish.
And the branches are going to look like your hair.
And then it's like, I'm just going to start like swaying as soon as you realise, like crazy swaying, and then you can bring people to see me, and then you'll be able to like in the night.
I'm fucking batshit.
You'll have to like steal the tree.
What, break a branch off?
No, steal the whole tree, like dig the tree.
Oh my god, how big? What's this tree like?
I don't know, but
what
you'll have to
tree?
like come in the night with a massive like lorry to move the tree to your house, so you can keep me close to you. But forget that.
Oh my
I'll come
god,
back.
that's too much.
No, I'll do you know what I'll do? I'll come back as a tree in your garden.
Oh, thanks.
To make it easier for you.
What if I live in an apartment? There'll be a tree outside the apartment.
I'll try and be as close to you as possible.
I don't know about the tree. I definitely don't know about dreams, but that could be fun, because I feel like I lucid dream, so I can be like fully present.
Yeah.
During the dreams.
I'll wake you up.
Yeah, I'm being a flame. I don't know who's died first out of ours too.
Me neither.
I feel like if you make it past 80, then I'll die first.
Okay. My preference.
Because I feel like once you're old, the age difference doesn't really matter. Like once you're old, you're old.
That's true.
So I feel like I would go first, unless you're gonna go like kind of early.
My preference would be for us both to die on the same day.
Right.
Because I don't.
How are we gonna communicate with each other? Just in spirit?
Yeah, mate. We'll just
We'll
float
walk together.
like into the afterlife or wherever. Because I don't even want to get too deep. I can't imagine like continuing life without you existing on the planet. Like, imagine, it'd be horrible.
You're gonna have like 1,000 candles lighting the walls. I'm gonna be spelling stuff out in the flames.
I'll like have all the curtains closed permanently. Just be like this candle lady.
Yeah.
Actually, what I've just said moves on to our planet problem.
Okay.
So it's quite a simple one. Do you believe in like the afterlife? Do you believe in the idea? I guess not necessarily afterlife, because I feel like afterlife is the idea of like heaven, hell, and stuff like that. I mean this in the concept of, do you believe in the other side? So that like the idea of Halloween, there's us, the living, and then on the other side there is the dead.
Oh, I don't think it's as black and white as that.
What do you mean?
Like, there's, like, I feel like it's more, mixed in. Like, I don't think there's like living and dead. I think there's like somewhere in between.
So there is an idea that you've got the living, you've got the dead, you've got the veil in between. That is, I guess the veil is like what separates it. And then, but the people on the other side are people that haven't passed over to reincarnate or to go into the ether, the afterlife, whatever. That is the idea of what the other side is. It's the people that haven't actually passed over. And apparently a lot of times it can, because for spirits don't see time in the same way as we see time. So it's not like, so let's say you die and you're a ghost. It's not like you've got your 24 hours in your day. Time, it doesn't really exist like that.
No.
Meaning that you could have somebody that's on the other side that first of all doesn't even know that they're dead.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Doesn't, like, especially children. Because first of all, they might not even know what death is.
They don't even know that they're living. Think
Yeah.
how young you are.
Yeah.
I also thought about this, like, at what age did you realise that you're like a human living on this earth? That's a whole other thing. But
That
like,
is a
do you know
whole
what I
other thing to
mean?
get into. We can answer that on a different, we'll answer that.
Stay tuned,
that can
guys.
be another planet
Yeah.
problem. But yeah, so and also if you die, like, you're not expecting to die. Like, if you've got a long-term illness, you're expecting to die. But obviously, I hate
Sudden death.
But yes, thank you, without me actually giving an example. But yeah, sudden death, all of a sudden, one minute you were doing something, next minute you're like, because obviously you instantly die, you probably didn't feel any pain, you literally instantly died. So then you're like, where am I? Also, so the idea is that, like, obviously at some point when you've died, you go into the light, blah, 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 blah. But you could be playing on a loop over and over, go back to the house that you lived in, and not even know, like, 50 years could have passed. Because, obviously, first of all, if you don't know that you're dead. Second of all, you might know that you're dead, but you might be really religious, so you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So the other side is actually the idea of, like, the space before the next bit.
Right.
So it's not a case of that's where people stay. That's the pathway to whatever the next thing is, reincarnation, whatever you believe.
Yeah, I think I believe that. I'm not sure about the loops, but that could be quite sad, because imagine if you're like on this loop for 50 years and then you start to figure out, like, oh, okay.
It won't feel like 50 years to you, though.
And it would
might
say
feel
it
like-
has been 50 human years, right? And then they come back and they're like, right, oh my god, I figured out how I can, like, connect to my wife that I've left behind, and, like, I'm gonna come back in, like, the flames or whatever. Wife's gone, it's been 50 years,
Wife's
but
dead.
there's a new woman in this house, and you're like, that must be her. And now this ghost is confused, thinking that this new woman that he's now haunting
But
is...
there is the concept, though, that if that was the situation, the wife dies and actually comes and finds
and
you
gets them out the loop.
and says, yeah, let's go.
Like, come on.
And some people
Okay.
that have near-death experiences, so they're actually dead at that point when they have the near-death experience. They have, like, loved ones come and meet them. So that would be the person that would potentially take you. But if you've got unresolved issues, sudden deaths, things like that, that is when people kind of remain in that space.
Do you think you're at peace?
I think you're at peace as soon as you die, because your ego is gone. So I don't, like, whatever happens next, I think it is peaceful, because you don't have the part, because your brain's dead.
Yeah.
So as soon as the brain is the bit that makes you anxious, that makes you worried, that's keeping you safe, but makes you less peaceful. So I think as soon as that part of yourself is dead, then you are at peace. Yeah.
Aww. That's a nice note.
Yeah,
End on.
yeah, it is. And obviously, thank you for the people that wrote in. And
I feel like that has been just such a, like, crazy
we're
episode.
just, like, all over the place.
Yeah, we've literally been, like, to death and back.
oh my god, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope it wasn't too much for
I hope
you.
it wasn't too all over the place and, like, crazy.
Not even just all over the place, but, like, some of these stories are a bit wild.
Yeah.
Like, even the ones that have come out of our mouths. But We've gone from imaginary friends, etc.
Yeah, me like getting back in touch with my imaginary friends that I haven't spoken about in like 15 years.
Yeah. But obviously if you have any more like interesting stories, just write into us, planetsandproblems@gmail.com. We're always like interested to hear your stories and experiences of all sorts. So yeah, and thank you very much for listening to our Halloween episode.
Hope you have a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.